guys, how are you? My name is Eva Oguna, and today I'm going to show you how I do my measurements. That once I'm done, all my clients just do one fitting, and it's always a perfect fit. We usually go to the appliquing of the dress or the beadwork. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how I do my measurements. I start with my measurements. I do vertical measurements against the horizontal measurements. So the way I do my measurements is quite different because I will never ever just take measurements of the bust independently. So the bust is where I write cups, yeah, and then I don't take the measurements of the waist. I don't take it independently. I call it the bodice, yeah. So I take the vertical measurement against the horizontal measurement, which makes it this by that. So if it's this, and when it's this, it goes around to that. So I'm going to be starting so you can be seeing what I mean. So I always start with the length. So my length comes from here to the desired height of a client's dress, yeah, or a skirt or whatever it is, to wherever you want it to be or where the client wants it to be. So after the length, I go to the shoulders, yeah, from shoulder bone to shoulder bone, yeah. So I will read from there, 1, and this one has got a shoulder of 16, okay. So let's have its length, and the length, it must pass on top of our what? Of the boobs, okay, and then under the boobs, and then it goes straight to wherever you want it to be. Like, let's say we have a length of maybe 62 of this one, and then we have a shoulder of 16. So we are going to what we call the bodice, which is this, yeah, to the waistline, to the waistline. Usually I touch a client here, so I feel where the waistline should be. So it's that, you see, it's that 16 by 25, yeah, 16 by 25. You make it tight, you make it exact, no loose tape measure. You don't make it loose, so it has to be fitting, okay. So that is our bodice against the waist. You will just call it bodice, right? And then we go from shoulder to under bust, which is 11.5. Under the bust, from the shoulder line to under the bust, which is 11.5 by C, where that one is. By under the bust horizontally, it gives us 27 on this one, okay. So you remember the waist is 25, and then this part is 27. Are we together? Now we are going to what we call the cups, right? The cups. Now that is where we are getting the bust line, right? So this is how I take the measurements of the cups, right? So it's from here to the teeth, yeah, from here shoulder line to the teeth. This one is 8.5, okay, 8.5 against that, which is 32. Remember, it should be fitting. Do not let it loose, yeah, 8.5 by 32, right? And then I come here, teeth to teeth of this should be 7. So this, and this gives us a perfect bust line, okay, my people. That one gives you a perfect what? Bust line. Higher. we have an umpire. So many people call this part umpire. This is a torso. So the umpire is this. This is the umpire. So it's all, some people call it the cleavage, where they want the cleavage to pass through. Sometimes I call it the chest. So mostly I call the umpire the chest. So this is what I'll do. I'll give it where I want the cleavage to be, which is 6/2 on this one. And then I have my tape measure on top of it there. Yeah? You get that? Right? Yeah. So that is our umpire or the chest. Right? Now we are heading to the hips. From up here, that way, to the hip line. So we have 28 of this against that. Remember, it must be fitting against that. So the moment you have your measurements like that, believe me, nothing will get out of your way unless this particular client goes and adds maybe weight that might be just 1 inch, or maybe they lose just like a 1 inch, depending on how long their dress takes. So also get used to giving a client just 14 days at most, because if you don't give it that way, then they will either lose weight or even add weight because of the anxiety of whatever is coming ahead of them. There is one more thing that you need to know. Always take the back bodice. It comes from here and slants to the middle, not like this. Do not do that. Instead, do that. Okay? So our back bodice on this part is 13.5, right? Sawa sawa. Yeah. So guys, thank you. When you do your measurements like that, be sure it's a perfect fitting. It will be a perfect fitting. That is what I mean. Why am I doing this video? I'm doing this video for our diaspora clients, so that when they take measurements like that and they send to me those measurements, then their dresses will be so perfect. One more thing maybe I will add, it's called the remover. The remover is usually maybe where you want your fish line to break from, or maybe where you want your slit, if it's a long slit, where you want it to be. So that one, you always start from the waistline to wherever it is you want the slit to be, or where you want the breaking point to be. It's called a remover. So that one could be your slit from the waistline to 15, okay? And then maybe that way, that place is your A-line, where you want your A-line to start breaking from. Also, there is something we call the corset length. Always when we are doing dresses with full corsets, especially for those people who are plus size like me, there is a way you measure your corset. Yeah? From here, you measure what we call the torso length. So the torso length is from here to the belly button and past the belly button where the pot belly is, so that you have enough space for what? For the corset, so that it doesn't hang on top or it doesn't go so much under, because if it goes way under, then that client will not be able to sit. So you just do it moderately to the line where their pot belly starts going inside. Okay, so like ours here is 22. Now that is our corset length, our torso length for this. People call it corset length, but this up to there is a torso length. Okay, so always for the plus size people, you do a corset that will pop their hips out, so you don't have to add hips. You don't have to pad their hips, especially if it's a client that doesn't want hip padding. What you do, you take a measurement of from here, the waistline, to the on top, the lower waist. Yeah, a measurement of from waistline to the lower waistline. Like this one, it is 4 inches. So when you're doing your torso, you will come like that, yeah, and on that part you will divide it by 2. So it's 4 divided by 2, which is 2 half. So your corset will come like that. Okay, yeah. So guys, thank you very much. That is how I do my measurements. Maybe you want to do measurements of the neck here. So that is simply the neck. Yeah, it is simple, just like that. And thank you. Until my next video. God bless you. Thank you guys.